Mask wearing throughout New York City and state has resulted in both the governor and the mayor pointing out that the coronavirus transmission rate is relatively low, around 1.2 to 1.3%. But that's an average over 7 days. Look at it another way, and both leaders were sending an urgent message.
For the first time in quite a while, the daily number is over 3%, and that is cause for real concern.
You see a much different story happening in these clusters. This is probably the largest cluster that we have addressed before.
They say that in these New York City neighborhoods, infection rates are between 3 and nearly 7%, and in some Rockland and Orange County communities, the rates are as high as 30%.
When you look at those zip codes, you will see there's an overlap with large Orthodox Jewish communities, and that is a fact. So I will be directly meeting with them.
But in some of those communities, there is some resentment.
You are fueling anti-Semites on the wall!
This was the scene today when a man in Borough Park, Brooklyn, confronted the Pix 11 crew, grabbing our camera. We were covering the borough president handing out masks and promoting coronavirus protection.
Government must start getting back on the ground, doing this, interacting with communities and finding out from the local leaders.
Local leaders like the neighborhood's city council member.
No neighborhood has everybody, but our community is doing its fair share.
Well, when you say our community, are you referring to Borough Park?
I'm referring to any way you define when a guy like me says our community.
Coronavirus cases going up.
Here in Borough Park, health workers in minivans remind people in Hebrew and Yiddish to mask up. The governor called for it as well and said he'd make rapid testing resources more available with this goal in mind.
Attacking the clusters, testing and compliance.
And the mayor said the city will be firm if it needs to be.
Anyone who is not wearing a face covering will be offered one, will be reminded it is required. And anyone who refuses to wear a face covering will be told that if they don't put one on, they will be fined.
But both the mayor and the governor tried to put this in perspective. They said that the clusters are in 20 different zip codes, but New York State has more than 1,700 zip codes overall where COVID rates are manageable.